Now recording.
All right, we got Craig on the call. We are recording. So, welcome everybody. It is September 13th, 2023, and welcome to the Aladdin DAO community call. Here with the whole core team and the gang, and just welcome everybody to the call. So, we are going to kick this off first off, I guess, with FX and what we got going on there. So, what do we got, Kruger?
That's a great question. What do we got? I think the first thing to talk about is that we are this epoch is the kickoff for bribing in the FETH Curve USD pool and the XETH ETH pool.
Yes.
And this is kind of interesting because I didn't actually think we were going to do this with the with actually incentivizing some liquidity in that XETH pool. Because I mean, I always the way that I kind of positioned it in my head is like XETH is the like the thing that you want to hold, right? Like typically when you're paying for liquidity, you need to pay for liquidity that like you want to like build the depth of liquidity there. But with XETH, it's less about how much liquidity is in the market and more about holding it through your like the leverage that you get just by virtue of the fact you're holding it.
Yeah.
So this is actually kind of a fun bonus for me, like a little unexpected. So we are going to be actually like there's going to be the possibility to earn incentives on your XETH and ETH, and on FETH and Curve USD. And the XETH ETH is going to be particularly interesting because that's one where by holding that LP, you're actually scaling the leverage down a little bit. Right, because like you've got only half of the exposure to XETH and the other half is to pure ETH, and so it's in a way it's a little bit like a middle ground on your risk exposure for XETH, and you get to earn this much more reliable and consistent curve yield from it, right? In terms of the farming.
Yeah, so that's that'll start this epic, and rewards will, I guess, start off next week then. So for it, so
that's right.
Folks can kind of look for. I mean, you can obviously deposit into them right now, and wait.
Front run the opportunity, get in there. Well, exactly. I know the other thing I think we should mention, and we talked about it last week, so I won't go too long about it. But right now, the majority of FETH, of the fractional ETH, is in the rebalancing pool, and it's earning that staked ETH yield in the rebalancing pool. But as with the launch of this new farming opportunity, it's going to draw some of that FETH out. So it's actually going to drive up the yields in the rebalancing pool, as well as creating this like second place, this second opportunity for farming FETH. And now the nice thing on that side is that now you can kind of like choose which denomination you want to earn in. Do you want to earn staked ETH from the staking rewards of the reserve in the rebalancing pool, or do you want to earn compounding? Compounding if you use a compounder. Do you want to earn curve in the curve pool, right? So options are good.
And I guess we'll have the concentrator harvesters up.
Exactly. I made the assumption that people would be using concentrator because really, why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? Yeah, exactly. So so just keep an eye out for that. That's coming up here pretty quick. And then
yes, indeed.
And then I guess the other thing is, we've got this code review and audit for a few of these features. I mean, the big one that I'm kind of looking forward to is the ability to switch directly from FETH to XETH and back and forth. But and there's a few other things involved in that audit. But
there's a surprisingly big like mental barrier for me going from ETH to FETH. Like that to me is because you're buying a stable coin with ETH, right? And so even though that's like fundamentally it makes perfect sense, that's the way the protocol should work, it intuitively makes more sense that you should want to mint FETH with a stable coin, right? And XETH with ETH, right? Like you've got ETH and you want to make it ethier. So you go XETH, and you've got a stable coin, but you want it to be more decentralized, all the great things about FETH, right? So and as you say, then the ability to swap back and forth between them, it's also kind of intuitive because that's going risk on and risk off, right? That's jumping in and out of that exposure. So as much as the mechanism, it is complete when you mint with ETH, I think intuitively it makes these kinds of changes are going to make the process feel a lot smoother or better or like more correct for people?
Yeah, I think, well, and it basically lets you, I mean, we're all in crypto to take advantage of sort of that volatility, especially when it's going up. But, to be able to just like kind of like flip the switch real fast instead of having to kind of like go through all the steps is,
Hmm. Hmm.
that's sort of like
Yeah.
your ideal scenario is just to be able, I want to flip it on, I want to flip it off, and that's what
Yeah.
this will allow folks to do. So.
So, and we've talked before about there's a bunch of other changes in there, including some stuff under the hood that is sort of important and coming along. And we've gone over that before. I won't belabor that point today. But those reviews, or so those audits on those different code updates, that is a maybe even the critical piece that we are waiting for before we go to TGE Town together. So
Yes.
this is a big one, and it's happened. We've talked about it many times. It was delayed when we had the whole curve drama, and so now we're kind of back on track. We're angling for the TGE in a small number of weeks, maybe a very small number of weeks. I'm not going to commit to anything here, but obviously the audits are the most important thing, and Aladdin does not release mainnet code that is unaudited. Period. So when that's all done, we're going to be in a position, and having recently heard from our partner that we kind of teased last week, our new partner that we're going to announce when we do the TGE to help warm things up a little bit.
Mhm.
I think that they're all lined up and ready to go. So really, I think that the audit results are basically the last missing piece of the puzzle, and we're gonna be TGEing once we have that lined up and in our pocket.
Yeah, yeah,
And obviously those deployed.
yeah, absolutely. And here's something else I've kind of noticed. I'm involved in one or two, not really involved, but like I pay attention to a couple other protocols, like on L2s, and it's kind of funny, like on some of these, like the conversations in those discords are just like the community is very fractured. Everyone's very upset due to the kind of like the bear market, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
doing anything they can do to get a win right now. And I'm really kind of proud of our community. I mean, there's been a few people kind of complain, and it's a little bit understandable. For the most part, everybody's been pretty chill and pretty understanding about sort of like these security steps that we're going through, and now
Yeah.
that we're kind of like working through this partnership as well, and making sure that that's going to be sort of a smooth sailing experience as well. So just my hat's off to being kind of like a mature stable community. So
Relatively. Let's
well, I mean,
yeah,
some of us are doing this call from a wood shop because of
that's
getting
true.
stung from bees. So.
Yeah, at great personal cost. I just want to make that clear. Great personal cost, and here I am,
Yes.
reliable as the sun. Absolutely. So that's and as you say, things are ugly. I feel really for Aladdin, that's the payoff of, Aladdin's been around a long time, and we were, Aladdin was born in the heavy bull of 21, and we've been around through every different, and even once things turned, there were still periods of euphoria and periods of excitement and stuff happening like that, as well as like Aladdin launches. And one of the things that Aladdin has been always very good at, I think, is like we're not building hype products. Like we're not doing
Yeah.
like NFTs, and we're not doing like stuff that is exclusively hype. Like we're trying to build actual legit like mechanisms and DeFi that is going to be around for a long time. And so I think that one of the reasons why we get the benefit of a more stable community is just because we don't overdo, it's like don't get too high, don't get too low kind of thing.
Yeah, we're not promising anything like 200% APR on anything, or some these massive giant airdrops or anything, or
I wouldn't have even put my stable coins in a 200% APR farm in the bull. It was like, come on, guys, do better. You got
Oh,
it, like 200%. Come on, you
that's
could
a good
surely.
I could have used that pep talk 2 years ago, Kruger.
Like I want 1,000% on my stables and 283,000 on my pool twos. And if
Let me
it's
tell
less, No.
I once did I once put some stables into a protocol on Phantom and I just did it as a lark just because the APR was so ridiculous. It was something like 6 APR, something ridiculous like that.
Uh-huh.
I think it was called Repay Finance. It's gone. Forget it. It's gone. But it was just one of those deals where I was like, I want to at least say at one point in time I earned
that you did
6
that.
sextillion APR.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
we don't do that.
No, we don't do that. I did. I'm pretty sure I saw. And you know that there's a problem when this is baked into the UI as a possibility. I'm pretty sure I saw the infinite symbol at one point. It was like we've overflowed the integer on describing the APR of this farm. Oh, all right.
There are those are like the hard lessons you have to learn that like everyone has to kind of go through. So, but we don't do that, and so everyone here, I guess, has gone through that and sort of like has very realistic expectations.
Or maybe they were clever enough that they didn't need to. I think those are the kinds of people that we've got too. We've got them.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Everybody's
a bunch of them, lots of them, especially us. Definitely us. Anyway, let's move on before we go too far down that rabbit hole. I think. So not a lot to talk about for Concentrator, although now I mentioned this at the top of the call that we don't have a huge agenda right now in terms of public facing stuff, but there's a lot of stuff we're cooking behind the scenes, and we're just going to try to navigate this a little carefully because it's not we've got a bunch of stuff cooking that's not really ready for talking about, but I do want to give people an idea of what direction we're thinking, and I'm probably going to get yelled at for over alpha leaking like usual, but one of the things we're thinking about a lot on Concentrator is we're looking at Curve USD really hard, and we're trying to project out where that Curve ecosystem is going and what farming Curve is going to look like in the future. And we're getting to a place right now where Curve USD and the ability to mint Curve USD is looking like it's going to have to us anyway, like it's going to have a really big impact on how Curve is farmed in the future. And so we are looking at trying to make sure that Concentrator is positioned as a top tier like farming solution for Curve, and doing a bunch of homework and starting to work a little bit on a new approach to harvesting vaults that will allow us to bring some of that some of what we think of as the future. And I mean, without being too cagey about it, like it seems pretty clear to us, or at least like a high probability, that Curve USD is going to be sooner or later mintable with Curve LPs, right? Probably not all of them, certainly not all of them, but there will be some ability to mint Curve USD against your LPs. And that, of course, opens up a whole world of opportunities. And we want to try to make sure that the most powerful of those opportunities are available to people through Concentrator. So we're working now, we're thinking about that, and we're coming up with ways to sort of future-proof Concentrator and maybe even squeeze into pole position. You know, that's what we're thinking about here. We're thinking about top spot and how can we make Concentrator the best place to farm Curve in the new Curve paradigm. So something to hopefully I've not overdone it on the
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of one of those deals where, I mean, we don't have much to give away anyway, just because there's a lot of moving parts anyway on Curve's part and sort of on our part.
Well, and a lot of this is speculation on our part too, right? On how this is going to pan out and what's going to be possible. A lot of it's going to depend on technically what Curve implements, right? What they're doing, how they choose to develop, Curve USD collateral and that kind of stuff. But we're thinking about it. We're on the case is the message here.
Yeah, we're trying to get ahead of the ball here. So just when we have more info, and it's sort of a good time to talk more about it, we'll obviously do that. But just so you know, that's kind of where our brains are with Concentrator. So
as well with Concentrator, it's generally always true that we got a stew going. You know what I'm saying? We got a.
You had some potato, a bone.
You got a bone in there. You got a stew going.
You got a stew going, baby.
We got and with Concentrator, we've always got a stew going.
That's right. Yes. All right. Okay. Well, I think that's about all we got on the Concentrator front. And then Clever, kind of the big thing is we're going to have a booster round this month. So
Yeah. Yeah, now the booster round for Clever, we're talking about this internally as a team, and we've been doing a lot of work, as everybody who's been following closely knows, at controlling the Clev token emissions over the last little while. Really doing everything we can. We've been devoting a lot of resources, Aladdin resources as well as Clever resources, to try to just get those Clev emissions down. I mean, everybody understands the market situation that we've got. And I think everybody who understands Clever understands that these native token emissions they're pretty deeply integrated with the protocol, right? Like we are like during the bootstrapping phase of Clever, those token emissions are important to the functioning of Clever, right? Because we need to keep the depth of liquidity in the swap pool from the Clev CVX token or the Clev tokens to their counterpart tokens, right? For CVX, it's Clev CVX to CVX, and that liquidity is important to the functioning of the platform. And so we're talking now in terms of the booster program. We've been scaling down emissions. We're probably going to look at doing something similar for the booster program. We talked briefly about like, do we just pause it for a little while? But that just doesn't that seemed not right for the community. And so I think what we're going to do is we're going to scale back a little bit the total emissions on the booster program. But we're still going to go ahead and do a full booster round and make sure that those people that are out there tweeting are going to lock in those tokens and get a chance to earn and continue to earn for their hard work. Right? It makes the most sense.
Yeah, I think what kind of the takeaway from this is it basically is just going to wind up eventually, assuming things stay the way they are, that it will basically just drag the booster program out longer. Just due to the emissions. So it's not that, any tokens are being taken away or that, the booster program is being cut or anything
good
like
point.
that.
Good point.
So it's important for folks to know we're just kind of like slowing it down, just kind of drawing it out.
And we had looked at other options like increasing vesting periods and stuff like that. And by the way, if anybody's got opinions on this kind of stuff on the booster side, on the community side, we're all ears. Like we're trying to plot a course here that kind of is the best outcome for the community in general, right? Obviously, like a bunch of sell pressure on the tokens that you're earning for boosting is also bad for boosters. So this is not like the whole like robbing Peter to pay Paul kind of idea. This is really a question of how do we maximize the overall like utility and benefit and value for the community here.
Yeah, just trying to keep things sustainable. So
yep, absolutely. So if you've got ideas about like if you have a preference on like maybe a longer vesting period or scaling back sort of to match a little bit the emission reduction that we're doing. And it's worth mentioning again that like we're deploying a lot of our resources on the back end in order to be able to lower those Clever emissions, right? Including like general Aladdin resources. To lower those Clever emissions and try to provide that support there. So it's a balancing act, and we're kind of using all the levers that we have at our disposal.
Yeah. So let us know what you think. But we're definitely doing it this round.
For sure. So don't want to go more than a couple of months, I think, without a booster round and a vote, and make sure that we keep a little bit of a simmer going, and all those great people who are out there tweeting for us. And I see a bunch of them in chat today, and I'm glad to have you guys around.
Yeah, absolutely. We couldn't do it without you.
No, definitely not.
I think
although I recently got over 400 followers on Shitter KMET. So
well, congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks. That's
I hope. Well, did it increase the level of discourse in your feed or anything?
I think so. As long as there are no follow-up questions, I think so.
Yeah, the hot topic on my feed this morning when I opened it was aliens in Mexico, and I was like,
right.
This is the hard-hitting journalism.
Yeah, it's time to go find some grass and touch the hell out of it.
I need to get in my wood shop. Yeah, exactly.
We got Doc Muscle in chat saying, why not emit VE Clev and half Clev, lowering the float. Half the tokens are locked. Give boosters a chance to lock the rest, or whatever they choose. That's an interesting idea. I mean, first of all, I don't know that we can. I don't know that it's technically possible to VE lock on someone else's behalf. I'd have to refer to Charlene on that one. But maybe there's a way. Huh. Maybe that's actually. I wonder. I'm just thinking out loud here, and I'm probably going to get yelled at for this too. I get yelled at a lot. Wonder if we offer like a
Yeah, we
like
can do that. Yeah,
we can.
It's a great idea. So it just, costs a lot of gas. We just have to. Oh, we can't. It's VE lock, right?
It's VE
lock.
lock. No, but Charlene,
Yeah,
what if we emit half to the booster program, and then for boosters only, if they, because the number of boosters is manageable, that we can do something manually. If they choose to VE lock their tokens, we airdrop them an equivalent amount. So we emit half, right? And then if they, because you have to do your own, you have to VE lock for yourself, right? But if you VE lock your booster tokens up to only the maximum booster tokens you're rewarded, you will get a second allocation. Could we do that?
So if you sell it like DWF, you're not going to get second.
Yeah, no, we're not exactly. But if you VE lock, so then we're gonna have to talk about this behind the curtains a little bit, because there's like also the vesting. There's also the vesting problem, right? Because you can't lock it until it's vested. So
well, and the locking period as well. Yeah. So
we'd have to define. But I think that would be straightforward, KMETs, because we're doing it manually, right? So I would just say like you max lock. If you max lock the Clev, you get like basically you get airdropped the number of VE Clev that you like, the total number of VE Clev you locked from the amount that you earned, maybe something like that.
No, it's a great idea, and let's keep chewing on it. Thanks, Doc Muscle. That's a
good thinking.
Cool
Good thinking.
Yep. See,
that's why we do this. That's why we do this out in the open, KMETs.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's our community, man. They're big brains.
We love them. What's next? What's next on our list here?
Well, we've got that's kind of it for Clever, and then for Aladdin, kind of the main thing is we've got this A-team funding proposal, and it's going to be
right.
Well, I mean, unless we get some very dissenting opinions or something on the forum, today,
it looks pretty positive. Can you clarify for me the kickbacks that you're planning on paying me, and I assume others, if we vote for you, are those coming like what's the timeline there?
Well, it's I'm kind of cutting out here. I can't it's really getting some internet outages. I can't can you guys hear me? Hello? No, we've got some fun things planned for the community. In this proposal with Meta. What a dude. He's got some cool giveaways, and we're gonna have some contests as well. So, there's gonna be some fun things to kind of give back to the community a little bit. So, not quite direct kickbacks, but
okay, but they're kickbacks in the term of fun and entertainment.
There you go. Yes, it won't be a beast, and they're not to the face.
Yeah, which, as I can confirm, it starts out kind of bad and it gets worse. Especially if you need to be in public. And did I tell you that I cannot be in my house right now? So being in public is it's a place I have had to be. Anyway, we don't need to go back down that road. And so I think that's kind of the story here. That's the content, except for the reason that everybody actually came out.
I mean, let's get the alpha out here. Let's start doing this. Let's find out when the bull market's starting.
It's time for the weekly ray of sunshine that is the Charlene macro report.
All right, Charlene.
Oh my
God. Can you cheer us up?
too much pressure and a cloudy week again. No sun. Have you checked weather forecast?
Oh my gosh.
I don't need to check the forecast because I'm outdoors right now, Charlene. I believe we talked about this.
Have a good time with your bees. Let's get into this. The US CPI number for August that just came out. The results are very mixed. So month on month, the number was posted as 0.6% versus 0.6% for consensus versus 0.2% for the previous month. And the annualized number is 3.7% versus 3.6% consensus versus 3.2% for July. So on CPI headline, things are increasing. And the core CPI number, core CPI is just CPI excluding volatile items like food and energy. And so the month on month number is 0.3% versus 0.2% for consensus versus 0.2% for the previous month. And the annualized number is 4.3% versus 4.3% consensus versus 4.7% for July. And the numbers are pretty mixed. So I don't know what message they try to tell. To be honest, I don't know how to interpret this result. I think it's just another one they try to keep maximum flexibility on future actions. But market consensus for rate hike at Fed meeting this week has come down to almost zero. And the chance for another hike in November has gone up over 40%. So September will be good, but alarm is not off yet. That's it for the market. I want to spend a bit time to talk about value investment today. So we all talk about fundamental investing, but what it really means in nature. Right? Warren Buffett is the best, right, of doing this in TradFi world. There has been a lot of content from him talking about how to evaluate a business, in particular by analyzing a company's financial statement. And Warren Buffett spends at least 1 to 2 hours a day digging into financial statements of companies. That's where he gets a lot of his alpha. I actually want to talk about a different angle on how to evaluate a business, in particular in the context of digital economies most of us care about. There is a bit warning because your amateur financial analyst is going to talk about physics again. Sorry, it's a bear market thing. Bear market. Well, it will be a fun thing to look back, right? And so I've been talking about physics, right, in the coldest winter of crypto. It feels so warm.
I'm there for it. I mean, it is chilly here. We talked about that. Sorry, move on.
Yeah. So as a high school physics student, so we have all learned the second law of thermodynamics. An important concept has been introduced there is entropy. Right? And entropy is a physical property measuring the state of disorder, randomness, and uncertainty of a system. And in an isolated system, heat always flows from high temperature to low temperature. And behind this, right, it's just particles are doing their random work. And over time, particles with higher kinetic energy will mix with particles with lower kinetic energy. And entropy is actually just a statistical phenomenon, as the probabilities of particles spreading around all over the places is much higher than the probabilities of particles staying very organized as when the system got started. The most fundamental law of physics brings a few implications to the world we live in. It gives us error of time, right? And also gives the direction we'll go to. But holy, what among the bad news? James Maxwell, right, the greatest physicist between Newton and Einstein, who came up with a theory of electromagnetism, had an interesting thought experiment called Maxwell demon, right? And just to violate the second law of thermodynamics. So he imagined to divide the box into two halves, right? And a demon acts as the gatekeeper in the middle, right? The demon has the knowledge of every particle and keeps doing work, right, to throw particles with higher energy to the part of high temperature, right, and throw particles with low energy to the half of low temperature, just to keep things in order. And this is possible, right? But so, to fight against this entropy increase. But the demon needs to consume a lot of energy to support his computations. And the demon is able to lower the entropy in the box at the expenses of increasing entropy from his own system and the overall system. So we are too tiny to save the universe eventually. But it's possible for us to create negative entropy regionally, right? Then we can see, this is applied, right? Maxwell demon. This is applied everywhere in our life, right? The air conditioner give us cool room temperature, and Kruger doesn't need it at expenses of increasing entropy for the overall environment, right? And all energy supply works in similar fashion, right? Regardless, it's traditional energy, renewable energy, or controllable nuclear fusion, right? They provide energy in the way we want at the expenses of disposing more junks to the environment elsewhere. As it's inevitable to create entropy, right? From every physical and chemical process. Even our life, right, lives on taking negative entropy from surroundings to fight the entropy created from life activities through our metabolism system. And Schrodinger, right, the really one of the best physicists on quantum physics, right? He also made a lot of contribution, I think, on biology, right? And he wrote a small book called What is Life in the 1940s. And he articulated why living organism has been designed and work the way they are very clearly. Yeah, for people who are interested, you should check it out. So after saying all this, right, how is this relevant to investment? Right. So I think Maxwell's demon and the Schrodinger's book on life provide a very helpful framework to think about investment. Right? The most fundamental law of investment is actually looking for negative entropy. Right? The value of the investment is calculated as the scale of negative entropy created regionally. How many people does this business all network can create negative entropy for at what time horizon? We can give a couple of examples, like, for internet, right? It has created hundreds of zettabytes data, right? And this is too big. 1 zettabyte equals to 1 trillion gigabytes, right? That's a lot of entropy, right? You think about it, without the internet giants today, we are all buried and lost in the astronomical amount of data online, right? So all the big internet companies, without Google and Twitter, whatever you guys call it, we won't be able to find the news we want, right? Without Amazon, we won't be able to find the merchandise we need. And without Facebook, we won't be able to connect to our friends so effectively. Or without, many others, right? We won't be able to find, really link to the thing we want effectively. And coming to the crypto world, right? The same thing applies. Right? Think about, every crypto network, right? The fundamental value, what's the fundamental value supporting it? Right? So Bitcoin really creates a new order, right? A new order. Order means less entropy. Chaos means more entropy, right? Bitcoin creates a new order by supplying a deflationary hard money. Right? And how they do it? Right? They leave off the negative entropy from all the miners and eat all the electricity behind. And Ethereum creates a new order, a computation platform for the new global financial system. Right? So crypto was born during the last financial crisis. It carries the mission to take over the world financial system one day because the old system is broken, right? One day its entropy will be too huge for anyone to save it. That's how every other monetary and financial system died historically. Right? The entropy was so big, and the whole system went to heat death. So we need to build all things that will bring new order to this world, right? Assets for people to use as a medium of exchange, for people to exchange value with each other with minimum frictions, assets with all different risk or reward structures for people to hold and earn. And the next question is, which network is more valuable than others, right? How to evaluate the value behind all these different networks. The structure is, the secret is actually in the topological structure of the network. And this is a big topic by itself. We can talk about it on another call. So when we look at the next altcoin, right, we know how to evaluate its value. What's the name of the meme coin again? PP? Will PP grow? Whatever. Will grow
I
into
think it's
a
already
very,
had its heat death.
right? So will them grow into very valuable decentralized network? Do they create any negative entropy for the community? Maybe, I don't know. Last but not least, right? Remember, every bit of negative entropy is created at the expenses of increasing entropy somewhere else, right? The data center around the world already consume 1% of the electricity we generate today. And this number is expected to hit 20% by 2030. there are a lot large language model around being built these days. They help to get things worse, right? So we need to be mindful at the expenses side. The amount of entropy Earth can dispose to the space is a constant. Right? If we create more entropy for the Earth than it can take, then we turn our planet into heat death. Right? This topic is just too big for today. That's it. Hope it helps.
That's a cool analogy with the heat death of protocols and whatnot. I guess Charlene. So I guess just to follow through that analogy, and just so I'm like pretty clear, is basically the negative entropy is basically revenue generated or profit, and then the increase in entropy would be expenses. Is that about right?
Well, it's what it help you to do, right? What it help you? What problem it help you to solve? Right? You think about it compared to the old system, right?
Yeah.
So entropy, negative entropy, is really like what this help you, right? What's the problem it solve for you? Right?
Okay.
Like order, right? It's like among all this chaotic, like collapsing monetary and financial system, right?
So,
those things are really have their entropy growing exponentially there, right? And one day they will collapse, right? And we are building new order.
So we're like taking friction out of the system a little bit, out of the existing system.
We're building a new system, right?
Yeah.
Like a money that will not collapse because we're not inflated, right? And whatever with a black box operation.
Well, let me tell you, Repay Finance did not agree with that with their 6 trillion% APR.
They had a different approach. I think if I want to, so just to boil it down, because as a person who is way on the right side of the curve, I'm always feeling for my left curve brothers and sisters. So just to boil it down, I believe what Charlene is saying is buy Pepe.
Number go up.
And buy Pepe, and this is absolutely financial advice. I think that was the message. I'm pretty sure I got it.
Don't put words into my mouth. I never give financial advice. All right.
Yeah.
So Kruger is canceled.
Translate. I told you I get yelled at a lot. Didn't I say that? Unfairly, I might add.
When Clev Pepe? That's really the question. That's
Pepe, clever Pepe, and Pepe collateral for Actually, I don't know. I mean, to be fair, we probably should have started with Pepe collateral on FX. That should have been the start, and then with your fractional Pepes and your leveraged Pepes. But whatever, we'll start with ETH instead.
Okay. Well, thank you, Charlene.
And look at the time, KMETs. Content plus bullshit equals 1 hour. That is the equation. That is the equation that we roll with every week here on the Aladdin Community Call.
It's kind of like one of those. It's like, how is the magic going to happen this week?
It's the community call invariant.
Yes, exactly. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, God bless all of you for sticking around this long.
Yeah, I don't understand why you did, but thanks for doing that.
We appreciate you guys very much, and I'll type up some notes and put it out for the community. But we'll catch you on the Discord and over on Shitter too. So
absolutely, let's everybody join us. Follow me on Shitter. I'm over 400 followers now, and I feel like I got 410 in me. So let's get it over that line, friends.
Yeah, let's keep cooking up some negative entropy. Let's keep doing this. All right, gang. You guys have a good one. We appreciate you.
Thanks.
Yeah,
everyone.
have a great week, everybody. Bye now.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Okay, bye.